soft? What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heavens, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheeks would shame those stars as daylight doth a lamp. Her eye in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon that hand. Oh, if I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. She speaks! Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head as is a winged messenger of heaven unto the white upturned wandering eyes of mortals who fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
You common cry of curs whose breath I hate, as reek of the rotten fens whose loves I prize, as the dead carcasses of unburied men that do corrupt my air, I banish you. And here remain with your uncertainty. Let every feeble rumour shake your hearts. Your enemies, with nodding of their plumes, fan you into despair. Have the power still to banish your defenders, till at length your ignorance, which finds not till it feels, making not reservation of yourselves, still your own foes, deliver you as most abated captives to some nation that won you without blows, despising for you the city. Thus I turn my back. There is a world elsewhere.
You have her father's love, Demetrius. Let me have Hermia's. Do you marry him? I am, my lord, as well derived as he, as well possessed. My love is more than his. My fortunes, every way as fairly ranked, if not with vantage, as Demetrius. And, which is more than all these boasts can be, I am beloved of beauteous Hermia. Why should not I then prosecute my right? Demetrius, I'll avouch it to his head, made love to Neda's daughter, Helena, and won her soul, and she, sweet lady, dotes, devoutly dotes on adultery upon this spotted and inconstant man.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult, exalt, and all at once over the wretched? What? Though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed, must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why? What means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sow work. Odds my little life! I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can attain my spirits to your worship. you foolish shepherd. Wherefore do you follow her like foggy south puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. 'Tis such fools as you that make the world full of ill-favoured children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her. And out of you, she sees herself far proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees and thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell what you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him. Take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd. Fare you well. I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have not charmed her. She made good view of me, indeed so much, that sure methought her eyes had lost her tongue, for she did speak and starts distractedly. She loves me sure, the cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's rings why he sent her none. I am the man, if it be so. 'Tis poor lady, she will better love a dream. Disguise, I see thou art a wickedness, wherein the pregnant enemy does much. How easy is it for the proper false in a woman's waxen hearts to set their form? How will this fadge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fond as much on him, and she, mistaken, seems to dote on me. What will become of this? As I am man, my state is desperate for my master's love. As I am woman, now alas the day, what thriftless sigh must poor Olivia breathe? O time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
These are the forgeries of jealousy, and never since the middle summer's spring met we on hill, in dale, forest, or mead, by paved fountain or by rushy brook, or in the beached margent of the sea, to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. But by thy brawls thou hast disturbed our sport, therefore the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which falling in the land hath every petty river made so proud that they have overbore their continents. The ox hath therefore stretched his yoke in vain, the ploughman's lost his sweat, and the green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. The fold stands empty in the drowned field, and the crows are fatted with the murrian flock. The nine men's morris is filled up with mud, and the quaint mazes in the wanton green for lack of tread are undistinguishable. The human mortals want their winter cheer. No night is now with him or carol blessed. Therefore the moon, governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes all the air that those rheumatic diseases do abound. And thorough this distemperature we see the seasons alter, hoary-headed frosts far in the fresh lap of the crimson rose, and on old Hime's thin and icy crown an odorous chaplet of sweet summer buds is as in mockery set. The spring, the summer, the chidling autumn, angry winter change their wanton liveries, and the mazed world now knows not which is which. And this same progeny of evil comes from our debate, from our dissension. We are their parents and original.
Farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint, cold fear that thrills through my veins, that almost freezes up the heat of life. I should call them back to comfort me. Nurse! What should she do here? My dismissal scene, I needs must act alone. Come, Vial. What if this mixture do not work at all? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No, no. This shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be a poison that the friar suddenly had ministered to have me dead, lest in this marriage he should be dishonoured because he married me before Romeo? I fear it is. And yet, methinks it should not, for he hath been tried a holy man. How if, when I'm laid in the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Should I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no wholesome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or, if I live, is it not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of the place, as in the vault an ancient receptacle, where, for many hundreds of years, the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in his shroud, where, as they say, at some else the night, spirits resort. Alack, alack, it is not like that. I, so early waking, with what loathsome smells, and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, and living mortals hearing them run mad. Oh, if I wake, shall I not be distraught? Imbibed with all these hideous fears and madly play with my forefathers' joints? And pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage, with a great kingsman's bones, as with a club I dash out my desperate brains. Oh, look, methinks I see my cousin's ghost seeking out Romeo, that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, I come. I drink to thee.
How happy some or other some can be. Through Athens I am thought as fair as she, but what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will not know what all but he do know, and as he errs, doting on Hermia's eyes, so I, admiring of his qualities. Things base and vile, holding no quantity, love can transpose into form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. Nor hath love mind of any judgment taste, wings and no eyes, figure unheedy haste, and therefore is love said to be a child, because in choice he is so oft beguiled. For ere Demetrius looked upon Hermia's eye, he hailed down oaths that he was only mine, and this hail some heat from Hermia felt, so he dissolved, and showers of oaths did melt. I will tell him of fair Hermia's flight, then to the wood he will tomorrow night pursue her, and for this intelligence, if I have thanks, it is a dear expense. But herein mean I to enrich my pain, to have his sight thither and back again.
Full of vexation come I with complaint. against my child, my daughter Hermia. Stand forth, Demetrius, and my noble lord. This man have my consent to marry her. Stand forth, Lysander, and my gracious duke. This man has bewitched the bosom of my child. Thou, Lysander, thou hast given her rhymes and interchanged love tokens with my child. Thou hast by moonlight at her window sung with feigning voice verses of feigning love, and stolen the impression of her fantasy, with bracelets of thy hair, rings, guards, conceits, knacks, trifles, nosegay, sweet meats, messengers of strong prevailment against unhardened youth. With cunning hast thou filched my daughter's heart, and turned her obedience, which is due to me, to stubborn harshness. And my gracious duke, be it so, she will not here before your grace consent to marry with Demetrius. I beg to the ancient privilege of Athens. As she is mine, I may dispose of her, either to this gentleman or to her death, according to our law immediately provided upon that case.
'Tis torture, not mercy. Heaven is here where Juliet lives. Every cat and dog and little mouse, every unworthy thing lives here in heaven. I may look on her, but Romeo may not. More validity, more honourable state, more courtship lives in carrion flies. They may seize on the white wonder of dear Juliet's hand, and still immortal blessings from my lips, who even in pure vestal modesty still blush, as thinking their own kiss is sin. But Romeo may not. He is banished. They must fly, but from this I must fly. They are free men, but I am banished.
Then I confess, here, on one knee, before high heaven and you, that before you and next unto high heaven, I love your son. My friends were poor, but honest, so is my love. Be not offended, for it hurts him not that he is loved of me. I follow him not by any token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I do deserve him. Yet never know how that desert should be. I know I love in vain, strive against hope, yet in this captious and untenable sieve I still pour in the waters of my love, and lack not to lose still. Thus, Indian-like, religious in mine error, I adore the sun that shines upon his worshipper, but knows of him no more. My dearest madame, let not your hate encounter with our love for loving where you do, but if yourself, whose aged honest cites a virtuous youth, did ever in so true a flame of liking wish chastely and love dearly that your Diane was both herself and love. Oh, then give pity to her whose state is such that cannot choose but lend and give for where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find for what her search implies, but riddle-like lives sweetly where she dies.
These are the forgeries of jealousy, and never since the middle summer spring met we on hill, in dale, forest or mead, by paved fountain or by rushy brook, or in the beached margin of the sea, to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. But with thy brawls thou hast disturbed our sport. Therefore the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which falling in the land have made every pelting river so proud that they have overborne their continents. The ox hath therefore stretched his yoke in vain. The ploughman lost his sweat. The green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. The fold stands empty in the drowned field, and crows are fatted with the Mauryan flock. The 9 men's morris is filled up with mud, and the quaint mazes in the wanton green are for lack of tread, are undistinguishable,
The human mortals want their winter cheer. No night is with hymn or carol blessed. Therefore the moon, the governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes all the air that rheumatic diseases do abound. And thorough this distemperature, we see that seasons alter. Hoary-headed frosts, far in the fresh lap of the crimson rose, and on old Higham's thin and icy crown, an odorous chaplet of sweet summer buds is, as in mockery, set. The spring, the summer, the childing autumn, the angry winter, change their wonted liveries, and the mazed world, by their increase, knows not which is which. And this same progeny of evils comes from our debate, our dissension. We are their parents and original.
Thou, nature, art my goddess. To thy law my services abound. Wherefore should I stand in the plague of custom and permit the curiosity of nations to deprive me? For that, I am some 12 or 14 moonshines lack of a brother. Why, bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind is generous, and my shape is true as honest madam's issue, why brand they us with base? With baseness, bastardy? Base, who, in the lusty stealth of nature, take more composition and fierce quality than doth within a dull, stale, tired bed, go to the creating a whole tribe of fops, got tween sleep and wake. Well then, legitimate Edgar, I must have your land. Our father's love is to the bastard Edmund, as to the legitimate. Fine word, legitimate. Well, my legitimate, if this letter speeds and my invention thrives, Edmund the base shall top the legitimate. I grow. I prosper. Now, gods, stand up for bastards.
O good Iago, what shall I do to win my lord again? Good friend, go to him, for in this light of heaven I know not how I lost him. Here I kneel. If e'er my will did trespass against his love, either in discourse of thought or actual deed, or that mine eyes, mine ears, or any sense delighted them in any other form, or that I do not yet, and ever did, and ever will. Though he do shake me off to beggarly divorcement, love him dearly. Comfort forswear me. Unkindness may do much, and his unkindness may defeat my life, but never taint my love. I cannot say. Oh, it does abhor me, now I speak the word. To do the act that might the addition earn, not the world's mass of vanity could make me.
My mistress, with a monster is in love.
near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. The shallowest thickskin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sports, forsook his scene and entered in a break. When I did him and his advantage take, an ass's knoll I fix it on his head. Anon, his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes. When they him spy, as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet-pated choughs, many in sorts, rising and cawing at the gun's reports, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky. So, at her sight, away his fellows fly, and at our stamp here o'er and o'er one falls. He murder cries and help from Athens calls. Their sense thus weak, lost with their fears thus strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns at their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats from yielders, all things catch. I let them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there. When in that moment, so it came to pass, Titania waked, and straightway loved an ass.
Tu saps que la careta de la nit tapa el meu rostre, o si no un vermell virginal encenderia cada galta per les coses que m'has sentit dir. Si jo pogués restar correcta, si jo pogués esborrar les paraules que m'has sentit dir, més fora compliments, que tu m'estimes. Jo sé que tu em diràs que sí i jo creuré la paraula, i tu podries jurar, i jurar en fals, que diuen que dels perjuris d'amor Júpiter somriu. Gentil Romeu, si és que tu m'estimes, reclama-ho fidelment. I si penses que massa d'hora m'has tingut vençuda, aleshores seré dolenta i aspra i diré no, que pel gust que tu em festigis, que altrament per res del món ho fora. En veritat, és que em sento massa enamorada. És per això que et pots pensar que pels meus aires soc frívola i lleugera, però creu-me, em tindràs més fidel que aquelles altres més vives en sentir-se reservades. Confesso que ho hauria de ser més, però tu has atrapat desprevinguda la meua passió. I així, perdona'm i no pensis que siga lleugeresa en aquest abandonar-me que la nit, embolicada en fosca, descobria.
Oh, we have made a vow to study, lords. And in this vow we have forsworn our books. For when would you, my liege, or you, in laden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutor have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, therefore finding barren practices scarce show harvest for their heavy toil. But love, first learned in a lady's eye, lives not immured in the brain, but with the motion of all the elements, as swift as thought in every power, and gives to every power a double power above their functions and their offices. It adds precious seeing to the eye. A lover's eye could gaze an eagle blind. A lover's ear could hear the lowest sound. When the suspicious head of theft is stopped, love's feeling is more soft and sensible than the tender horn of cockled snails. Love's tongue proves the dainty Bacchus gross in taste. For valor, is love not a Hercules, still climbing trees in the Hesperides? Subtle as Sphinx, as sweet and musical as Apollo's lute strung from his hair. When love speaks, the voice of all the gods makes heaven drowsy with his harmony. Never does a poet touch a pen to write until his ink is tempered with love's sighs. Oh, then his lines would ravage savage ears and plant in tyrant's mild humility.
From women's eyes, these doctrine I derive. They sparkle still, the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academes that show, contain, and nourish all the world. Then fooled you are these women to forswear, or in keeping what is sworn, you prove fools. For wisdom's sake, a word that all men love, for love's sake, a word that loves all men. For men's sake, the author of these women, for women's sake, by whom we men are men. Let us once lose our oath to keep ourselves, lest we lose ourselves to keep our oath. Ha! Then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn by her little team of atomy athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her wagon spoke made of long spinners' legs, the covers of the wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, and the whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film. Her wagoner, a small grey-coated gnat, not so big as a round little worm pricked by the lazy finger of a maid, and her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time out of mind by the coach's fairy makers. And then, in this state, she gallops night by night through lovers' brains. They dream of love. O'er courtiers' knees, they dream of courtesy straits. O'er lawyers' fingers, they straight on dream of fees. O'er ladies' lips, they straight on kisses dreams, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plague, because their breaths with sweet meats tainted are. Sometime she gallop through a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out a suit. And sometimes comes she with a tithe pig's tail tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep. Then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth over a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breeches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of helves 5 fathoms deep, and then anon a drum in his ear, in which he starts and wakes, and thus being frightened swears a prayer or two, and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf locks in foul, sluttish hairs. This is the hag when maids press on their backs and presses them, making them learn first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she.
Farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint, cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse? What should she do here? My dismal scene. I needs must act alone. Come, Vile. What if this mixture do not work at all? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No. No. This shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be a poison which the friar subtly administered to have me dead, lest in this marriage he should be dishonoured because he married me before to Romeo? I fear it is. And yet methinks it should not, for he has still been tried a holy man. How if when I am laid in the tomb I wait before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault to whose foul mouth no hellsome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or, if I live, is it not like the horrible conceit of death and night together with the terror of that place?
as in a vault, an ancient receptacle where for many hundreds of years the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed. Where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in his shroud, where, as they say, the night spirits resort. Alack, alack, is it not like that I, so early waking, what with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals, hearing them, run mad? Or, if I live, is it not like the horrible conceit of death and night, and shall I not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play my forefather's joints, and pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage, with some great kinsman's bone, as with a club, dash out my desperate brains? Oh, look, methinks I see my cousin's ghost seeking out Romeo that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt. Stay. Romeo, Romeo, Romeo. Here's drink. I drink to thee.